Welcome back to Aussie Survival Stories. Today, I want to share one of the most terrifying experiences of my life, a story of panic, quick thinking, and the raw power of nature. This is the story of how I escaped the deadliest crocodile-infested river in Australia. It all began when I set out on what I thought would be a routine exploration trip into the Northern Territory. I'd researched the area, packed essentials, water, food, first aid, a GPS and a survival kit, and felt mentally prepared for the outback. But nothing could prepare me for what was about to happen. The river I had chosen was infamous. Locals warned me repeatedly, "Stay away during this season. The crocs are aggressive and many have disappeared here." I nodded, confident in my skills, thinking I could handle it. Overconfidence can be deadly in the outback. When I reached the river, it looked calm, deceptively serene. The early morning mist made it almost magical. Beneath the surface, however, lurked saltwater crocodiles, some of the largest predators on Earth. One snap of their jaws and survival is impossible. I decided to use a small boat I'd rented. It was basic, enough to float me across the river, but I underestimated how fast and powerful these crocs could be. Within minutes of rowing, I saw a shadow beneath the water. At first, I thought it was a log, but then the unmistakable ripples of a crocodile moving with purpose made me freeze in terror. My first instinct was to stay calm. Panic would get me killed faster than the crocs ever could. I paddled forward slowly, watching the water carefully. My mind raced. Should I turn back? Should I stop? Every decision felt like it could be my last. Suddenly, a massive crocodile surfaced just meters from my boat. I could see the outline of its body and those cold, calculating eyes. It's hard to describe the terror of realizing you are not the predator, you are the prey. I froze, trying not to make sudden movements, because crocodiles can sense vibrations and react in milliseconds. I knew I had to get to the other side. I started paddling slowly, keeping my movements smooth. The croc began circling, testing me, waiting for an opportunity. Every splash, every ripple spiked my adrenaline. My muscles burned, my heart raced, and my mind screamed at me to stay calm. I focused on a single thought: survival. Minutes felt like hours as I edged forward. I remembered advice from local guides. Never let the croc feel threatened. Keep your eyes on it, but never make sudden moves. I clutched my paddle tightly, trying to appear steady even as terror coursed through my veins. Then the croc lunged. The water exploded beside my boat. My instinct took over. I paddled with all my strength, muscles screaming, adrenaline surging through every vein. It felt like the croc was chasing me, each movement faster than the last. My heart pounded so hard I thought it would burst. By sheer luck and determination, I reached the riverbank. I collapsed on the sand, gasping for breath. My legs shook, my hands trembled, and I could barely process what had just happened. I had escaped, but the danger was far from over. The outback is unforgiving. Crocs are only one threat. Heat stroke, dehydration, venomous snakes, and other hidden dangers lurk everywhere. Survival requires vigilance every second. Once I caught my breath, I assessed my situation. I still needed to traverse several kilometers to reach safety. The terrain was rough, with dense vegetation, thorny bushes, and uneven ground. Each step required care. One wrong move could injure me and leave me helpless in this deadly environment. As I walked, I thought back to all my preparation: water purification tablets, protein bars, a basic first aid kit. These were my lifelines. Mental strength was just as important. Fear can be paralyzing. I had to control it. I had to keep moving. Survival is as much a mental battle as it is a physical one. Hours passed, the sun climbed higher, and the heat intensified. Sweat poured down my face, and dehydration became a real threat. I rationed my water carefully, taking tiny sips to make it last. Losing focus for even a minute could be fatal. Crocodiles weren't the only threat. Hidden dangers included snakes, spiders, and sharp branches that could incapacitate me. Eventually, I found a small stream. It wasn't much, but it was enough to refill my water supply. I drank carefully, aware that even a small mistake could lead to illness. I reminded myself of one rule: stay calm, stay alert, and never underestimate nature. As evening approached, I found a small clearing and rested for a short while. I kept a fire ready to keep wildlife away and to signal for help if needed. The night in the outback is another danger. Temperatures drop sharply and nocturnal predators roam freely. I kept my senses on high alert. Sleep was nearly impossible. Every rustle of leaves, every splash of water made me tense. I reminded myself, even if I survive the crocodiles, the outback itself is relentless. Exhaustion eventually took over, and I managed a few hours of rest. At dawn, I continued my trek. I stuck to higher ground, avoided water sources when possible, and stayed aware of croc habitats. Patience and careful observation became my greatest tools. By late afternoon, I spotted signs of civilization, footprints, faint trails, and eventually smoke from a distant campfire. Relief washed over me, but I remained cautious. I approached carefully until I reached friendly locals. When I finally emerged from the wilderness, exhausted, dehydrated, and terrified, I realized how close I'd come to disaster. The river, with its deadly crocodiles, had tested every skill I had. Nature had reminded me of its power, and I survived because I stayed calm, observed carefully, and never panicked. This experience taught me that survival in the outback of Australia is not about bravado or luck. It's about preparation, awareness, and mental strength. Crocodiles are fearsome, but the real danger is underestimating the land itself. Thank you for watching this story. If you want more unbelievable Aussie survival stories, tales of courage, danger, and triumph, make sure to subscribe and hit the bell icon. The outback is wild, unforgiving, and full of lessons for those who dare to explore it. Follow for more real Aussie survival stories.